Okay, so an official hello. I don't think I've met anybody before that's on here, so it's great to see some new faces. My name is Laurie Sterling, and I'm here for the next half an hour, 45 minutes, depending how many questions everyone has, to speak about breaking into the C-suite. So this is might be for OBMs, it could be for people already in a COO position, but that's maybe new in the position or inexperienced. It could be somebody who is experienced in project management, might be launches and marketing launches and things like that. Or it could be that you're a high-level VA and you know that there's actually more potential that, or maybe you're even doing more in your role than even a VA would be normally be experiencing. So we're going to dive into that and yeah, let's just get started. It's nice to see so many faces. It's wonderful. Okay, so a little bit about my background. I am a COO myself. I do what I teach and teach what I do. And I also am operational efficiency expert. So that is my official training is from the operational side of things. It started way back many years ago when I co-founded a web development agency, and I ran that for 10 years, and I was running the back end of the business, and my business partner was sort of the front face center. They were the talent, and they dealt directly with the customers, but I was the one who basically did everything else in the business. And so we ran that for 10 years, and we did end up selling that business when I moved to the UK. So I am based from Australia. That might be the accent that you can hear, but I've been living in the UK for the last 4 years. And for the last 5 years, so a little bit before we moved to the UK, I actually became a business coach. So I had all of this experience running and building up a business, and I wanted to teach more about what I knew. And I started out in the finance side of things, teaching how to be able to like budget for a business that has unpredictable income, and that also moves on into like the unpredictable nature of having a personal income. But then I sort of really realized that even though the finances and the numbers were telling a story, I couldn't do anything about that story unless I dug even deeper. And that's where I discovered operational efficiency. So I'm not sure if you've heard of Mike Michalowicz. He's the author of Profit First and also Run Like Clockwork or Clockwork. So I actually was a coach for Run Like Clockwork for a time there, and that's when I learned all about my operational efficiency and how to coach businesses to do that, and sort of what behind the scenes, what it really takes to run a business efficiently. So in that time, I've experienced 800K launches. I've been a COO to several 6- and 7-figure business owners. I have one client now who is my main COO coach, and I still so it's COO client, and then I still do sort of help out on the side with a few other businesses as well. But primarily, I am a COO coach and mentor, which is what I do inside my program inside the Digital COO Accelerator, which is just what I love, to be able to not just help one business achieve like financial freedom and time freedom, but also many businesses through the people that I teach. So that's a bit of a personal passion of mine. So if you're here today, then you might be an OBM who is already at full capacity, but they know that they were meant for more. They still want more income, more experience, the next level for their businesses or for their career. Or you might be a project manager. You've got the experience in being able to work, big projects, big picture projects, but you are looking to develop your leadership skills. You might be a high-level VA that knows that they're looking for more. They want to find themselves in a management role and want to up-level. Or you might already be a COO that is found themselves in this position, but you just want to be more confident and strategic in your role. So that's who I'm speaking to today. Goodness, I went right to the end slide there. Let's start again. Wrong button. Here we go. So what we will be covering today are key skills and competencies that COOs need to possess, the mindset and attitude required to succeed as a COO, some practical advice for overcoming common obstacles on the path to the C-suite, and strategies for positioning yourself for COO success, how to build a network of supportive mentors and allies. So hopefully they are all tools and strengths that you'll need to take that next path, position that path for you. So we're going to start. Most people I work with have already got this first step. So there's 5 steps to becoming COO. The bare basic skills that I'm looking for is somebody who is confident with project management already. This is why I often look to OBMs, or another name for OBM is online business managers. They've already got experience with the big picture, and they know how to put the right people in the right place to do the right tasks at the right time. And it all happens strategically. We know who's meant to be where. We've got that big picture vision, but we're also a little bit task oriented, like with task detail. We can hone in on that little on all the little details, make sure things don't fall in the gaps as well. So project management is definitely an important skill. I think of this as a transferable skill set. You're not necessarily going to be doing the nitty-gritty project management as a COO, but it is an excellent transferable skill for you to have experience on the path to COO. It means you're comfortable with the tech that you use. Perhaps you already have a project management software that is your go-to, you love using. But it's sort of the bare basics. If you haven't even had experience managing a team in this aspect, then I would probably tell you to go back and take a step back and look at that particular role first. Once you feel comfortable and have experience in project management, then we're ready to take the next step, which is about team delegation, management, and autonomy. So it's not enough just to be able to tell your team what to do and here are the tasks and the details that come with that. It's also important to be able to teach your team how to operate with autonomy, that they can actually be able to take the next step without you having input. They know where they're at, they know what they're trying to achieve, and you're not becoming a new bottleneck for the business. So quite often a COO comes into the role to take the pressure off the CEO, who is often the face of the business, and quite often the talent of the business. But they're finding that, being the master delegator of the business is not a good role for them. They need to show up in a different way. And so they'll bring on a COO to help with the operations of the business. So you don't want to just be a new bottleneck. So getting the CEO out of the way doesn't create a new bottleneck. It actually creates a team that can communicate freely and understands their role and their position and what's expected of them, and to be able to get that autonomy, that they can understand where their role is and what's next for them, without needing the direction from you and that micromanagement. We're really trying to avoid being micromanagers in this atmosphere. So then the next step is being able to make decisions using data and analytics. So and it's not just you, it's also your team as well. So hopefully your team can be one step ahead of you. But when we look at using data and analytics, it's helping us to make decisions quickly and not having to spend that time absorbing and researching and digging deep into that the data and then the analytics is already there in some sort of a dashboard format. so that you can take that information, make a decision, and be confident in the decision that you make, that you had reasoning behind it and the metrics and the data to be able to support that decision that you made. And also like that your team understands that that's where that decision is coming from. It's not coming from emotion. It's not coming from greed. It's not coming, from any negative space, that it's actually coming from, well, here's what we're trying to achieve. Here's the data to support it. So let's make a pivot in that direction. So that also, it feeds back into the autonomy of the team, in that they can actually also look at that data and analytics themselves and actually see any issues or problems that are coming up before they even need to come to the attention of management. And so management is actually there to be able to keep the right cadence of the data and the analytics that's coming around with each department that needs to communicate that it's happening at the right time. And once again, it comes down to bottlenecks, making sure that there aren't any bottlenecks, and using the data and analytics to be able to find that. And that's where we take those bottlenecks that we find with the data and analytics, and we can actually put some strategic planning into place. And we want to be able to do this strategic planning on a regular basis. So this becomes the basis of a business plan that happens. But a business plan isn't sort of set and forget, here's our 5-year business plan so we can take it to the bank and get, investments and things like that. It's actually more about understanding what is the priority for the business right now to be able to make that next step and be able to make that next step of growth. And to be able to understand, when I maybe invest in this particular aspect of the business, that there's going to be an ROI for that in the future. And that's where we can start making projections. So the projections come from the finance side of things. We do need to be able to understand some aspects of the finances of a business. So there are cycles that happen in a business, and in those cycles, there can be bottlenecks, and they all have data and metrics that belong to each piece of that cycle. So once again, understanding the cycle of a business and understanding the planning that can happen and the bottlenecks that can get caught up, and how to analyze those bottlenecks and free them up, and then be able to understand with the finances, if I free up this bottleneck, here is the potential that we can reach because of that. Or here's perhaps a financial goal that we're trying to achieve. So if we're looking, I'm not sure if you've heard of lead and lag metrics before. So understanding that a lag metric might be, okay, at the end of the quarter, we want to make 100 grand. So we need to be able to break down what needs to happen in the next 3 months to make 100 grand. Well, okay, we need to sell, 6 digital packages, or we need to sell 6 websites, or we need to be able to sell 10 of our program. And to be able to sell 10 of those, it's not a matter of, well, we've got to the end of the quarter and we either did or we didn't, and that lag metric either happened or it didn't happen. But there are milestones along the way to help us understand that, well, if I can achieve this smaller milestone, if we have achieved this smaller milestone earlier in the month or every week, and be able to track that metric and that goal, then we are well on the way to be able to achieve that lag metric. So the lead metric is the steps that happen along the way, and the lag metric is the final one. So they're both important, and it's important to know the relationship of those lead and lag metrics to be able to help us with those projections along the way, and understand, okay, we're like halfway through our quarter now, and we're not quite hitting our lead metrics. So what do we need to do to pivot and make a change, and how can we measure that to make sure it is changing in the right direction and it's not having a negative effect on the outcome that we're wanting as well. And so the 5th step in becoming a COO is building the growth and legacy of your business through leadership. So it's understanding how each cycle of the business becomes its own department, I guess, and where those branches can open up and bring more people in through the business. And then also, what is their pathway to growth inside the business, rather than understanding that there's, like, you don't ever want it to be top heavy. There's only ever one ladder to the top. In fact, I believe that you create your own ladder, and there's not somebody under you or over you who is preventing you from taking the next step in your career. That you can actually build your own ladder and find your own pathway inside a business. And then if that business isn't going to help you get to the position that you want, then you'll probably be finding somewhere else to go to instead. And so if that's something that's happening for you, then you can believe it's also happening for your team. And so what we're trying to build is the growth for your team to also be able to take the steps in that they want in their career. And we do that through leadership and making sure that that there is a path for future growth in the business, and that it is beyond just the owner of the business, especially if they are somebody who is the talent of the business, that you can build up a future for the business that can be beyond just that leader, just that the business founder, that we can create leaders within the business. And that is super important to be able to ensure that your business can grow beyond just one person, and that we're going to be creating a greater impact, not just for our customers, but our team as well. And the more people that we can touch and improve their life through the services that we offer, then it just makes our own mission in life and our team and the morale of the company just to improve and grow exponentially. So let's keep going. All right. So it's also important to have the right mindset and attitude going into this role. So we need to understand growth mindset to me, this is about always being able to spin the positive on something. If you believe that you can step up into the next role, then there's nothing then you're going to do what it takes to step into that role. If you believe, no, I'm at the top of my ladder, there's somebody else ahead of me, I'm never going to get past them, then that is never going to help you grow and take the next step, unless you're willing to look elsewhere. And then you need to understand what is that next step for you, that growth mindset. So I am a big believer in the thoughts that you think are what motivates your own actions, and those actions are what gets you the results. So it first starts with how you think. Strategic mindset is about understanding that there is always an answer to a problem. Sometimes that answer will depend on how much money you can throw at a situation or how much time you can throw at a situation. But understanding what is going to get you the biggest ROI is going to be super important. So that strategic mindset of, it's not just about how positive we can think, we actually need to understand what is the pathway that's going to get us there. And so it's kind of like solving a puzzle, or what are the pieces of that puzzle that's going to make that whole picture. There's got to be some resilience, especially in the COO role, because it is essentially a partnership with the CEO, that even though there may be times that you're not always on the same path, and especially if the CEO is the one who owns the business, at the end of the day, they're going to pull the "it's my business, we do it my way" card. So there's sometimes it's a really yin and yang kind of relationship that happens between the COO and CEO. And that so the resilience to understand when you're getting pushback, it's not anything personal, it's not to do with your ideas, it doesn't make them invalid. It's just the piece of the puzzle that says that we need to actually understand a bit deeper that what is the resistance here, and whether it is just no, not now, or maybe we just need to find another pathway to get to the same outcome that we're trying to achieve. So being resilient is about it's about problem solving. And when you come up to an issue, there's not just one path or one way to fix any problem. There's always many ways to fix a particular problem. So having that resilience and grit that comes with it. If something fails, don't give up. We keep trying no matter what. And you have to understand the why behind why we keep trying. And that is different for everybody. For me, I'm determined to have my own success. I'm determined that I'm going to have financial freedom for my kids and for my family, and that is my why. And I'm also determined that it's not just once I have got that freedom for my kids and for my family, that I'm not going to stop there. I'm also going to get the freedom for other, mothers or women or other people in that position that feel like they're stuck, to understand that you don't have to be stuck. You can achieve more. And that's like a personal message that I have is, like, for me, a huge one is that I actually never completed my high school degree. I ended up finishing in my second last. I had 2 years to finish in my high school, and I was brought up by a single mum, and I was sort of pushed out of school early to go and find myself a job. And but I never let that be a reason for me to not still be able to achieve the goals that I had. I was always determined that I was going to succeed in entrepreneurship. I had this passion that that is what I wanted, and I couldn't. And when I started my first business, yes, I was in entrepreneurship myself, but then I found that the best way for me to serve in entrepreneurship was to be able to have somebody else front and center of the business, and I did the behind the scenes, because that was where my strengths lay. I wasn't great at being the face of the business, even though right here I am showing my face and presenting this. It's more about what I can help others achieve by helping out in that back end. I knew that I can achieve so much more than having to be in that driver's seat myself. And then the fourth piece, the fourth mindset, that's my pup. She's a bit grumpy. My fourth mindset and attitude recommendation is to understand your money mindset and how it relates it could be to the CEO, to the business that you're running. It could be to do with how much you're asking in compensation for your role. Just because you are good at something and it's easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for other people. And so we kind of get caught up by, well, I shouldn't be charging so much when it's so easy for me to do. And so this money mindset is, it can show up in so many ways. It can show up when we are asking for, when we're negotiating our salary, and we're asking for a higher price than perhaps our father ever made. And so we sort of have this, holding back, or maybe your partner or something that, you feel like you can't make as much money as somebody else for some other reason, some number. Or it could be the money mindset for the business that you're running, changing the mindset that we are swapping time for money, so an exchange of rates versus exchanging money for value. So understanding value-oriented pricing versus hourly rate pricing can be a huge mind shift change that has to happen. And so making sure that you are on the same page as your CEO when it comes to packaging and pricing your offerings. whether it's your own personal offerings or the offerings of the business that you work for. You have to make sure we're always constantly working on our money mindset and making sure that, yeah, it sort of comes back to the growth mindset, that there is no upper limit, that there is always something more. And it's just how you position it that makes the huge difference. It's so yeah, they're the four mindsets that I think you have to be prepared to work on to be able to step into the COO role. So I was speaking earlier about the different cycles that happen in a business. So business cycles and bottlenecks and also cadences. So those three aspects all are to do with the cycle that happens in a business. And no matter what business, like even if you are a product-based business versus a service-based business, it might be, these can perhaps happen in a different order. Like sometimes the money can be collected before you deliver a product. Sometimes it's collected after. Sometimes it happens at the same time. So it is possible that the order of these bottlenecks can change, or the order of these cycles can change, but each and every business goes through this kind of a cycle. Even like the big businesses like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, they're always doing brand awareness ads to keep their product top of mind, and then they will lead and nurture. So leading and nurturing might be the different promotions that they happen to have. Maybe there's a special type of burger or flavor that's coming out, or maybe they are teaming up with Monopoly or some other partnership brand that they're trying to lead and nurture you to come in. And then they're going to sell and convert, and that talks about how easy it is for that transaction to happen, or how complicated, or it might be the legals that are involved, depending on how, maybe you have a website that sells products, and so this sell and convert is going to completely happen on a website. So it's about how easy can somebody put something in the cart and click buy and move to the next step and have it delivered, as opposed to what I'm doing here today is having a webinar and sharing information more about what I know and what I can deliver. So that selling and converting vehicle happens differently for every business, but there is a process that happens to do that. And then we've got the delivery and capacity. So delivery is actually could be delivery of the product, or it could be delivery of the service. There's always going to be a capacity and a capacity limit to every business. And this is actually, the capacity limit was exactly what Amazon had overcome with delivery and capacity. Is what makes them so big is that they have been able to expand their logistics worldwide, and that has led to their success of growth in their business. But it didn't always start out that way. They had to grow that logistics as the business grows. So it kind of happens in these cycles, but as the business gets bigger, those cycles are going to be like getting higher and bigger and larger in every way and capacity. So this constant growth that's happening in the business will still happen in these cycles. And then the collection and cash flow. So that is, making sure that you are charging the right amount for the right prices for your offerings and your services, making sure that if you have to like purchase stock first before you can sell the stock, there's always going to be collection and cash flow issues. So maybe it could be if you have payment plans, whether you're always getting that credit card collection and things like that. So this cycle will continue to happen. And then once you've finally made your sale and you've collected the cash, then it starts again. And it might be starts again with that particular customer that already exists, or it might be finding a new customer altogether, and hopefully a bit of both. And so this cycle will keep happening. And then there's a balance that happens between all of them. We don't want to have so many leads and come in that we can't actually that we have such a wait list that we have to wait a year to be able to sell or convert. I've seen this happen where a lady makes her own skincare and she gets so many orders that she actually has to shut down her cart for a period of time until she can make enough of her product before she puts it back up. And then she sells out in absolute minutes. So she has to do a campaign around this particular date and time, be ready, because that's when I'm going to open the cart ready to sell my products. And so it happens in many different ways. And to understand that that's what that balance is, to have so many leads, or it might be you have so many leads and you end up selling them all, and then you realize you don't have enough capacity to be able to deliver that service and keep your customers delighted. Do problems start happening? Do you have enough people inside your inbox? You're going to get so many emails come in that you need more customer service staff to be able to help with the capacity and delivery of that offering. So there's always going to be a balance and a cycle that happens. And as the business grows, you'll find that there tends to be a bottleneck in a certain area. And that's where the strategy piece comes into it, is that once a quarter, you want to address where is the biggest bottleneck, because each time your business grows and makes that next step, that bottleneck could be in the same place, or you might go through another cycle and it keeps ending up in another area. So being aware of that cycles and the bottlenecks and the cadences of how that happens inside the business. Okay, so some of the questions that I get asked is, okay, I'm good at, I'm good at words, and I'm good at customer service, and I'm good at speaking to people, but I'm no good at the numbers. Or maths was my worst subject at school. Or I know it in theory, but I can't do maths without a calculator, or I'm just no good at Excel spreadsheets. The thing is, it doesn't have to necessarily be, you need to be able to understand the basics. And when I say basics, business finances, you understand profit and loss, you understand assets and liabilities, you understand top line and bottom line of a business, you understand when you get given a business report, what those numbers mean and how they affect the numbers overall. But when it really comes down to it, do you really know how the inside of a car works? Like, do you know the engine? I mean, I might be, have an amazing audience right here, right now, that actually says, yes, I know how to fix a car and I know the mechanics of a car, but I personally don't. I know how to drive a car. And when I drive the car, I get this dashboard, and this dashboard tells me if I've got enough fuel. It tells me if there's anything wrong with, the temperature. My engine lights will come on if there's something. I can see how cold it is. I can see how fast I'm going. But all of this information doesn't mean I have to know how a car runs to be able to drive a car. This dashboard gives me split-second information. It gives me all the information I need to know in a quick, digestible way that's easy for me to understand. Everything is running smoothly in the car. If I started getting, a red light flashing somewhere, then that's going to draw my attention, and I'm going to know what to do to be able to fix that issue, whether it's a big issue and I need to call my mechanic, or whether it's something that I just need to pull into a petrol station and refuel. Just because I don't know how a car works doesn't mean I can't drive a car. And so that's what I want you to think of when it comes to the numbers of your business. Yes, there are lots of numbers involved in this dashboard. No, I don't know how the mechanics work and how it's all related, but I do still know how to get from A to B. And that's where dashboards come in. So using data and analytics and creating a dashboard for your business where you can make split-second decisions, or the CEO or your team members can understand when something is, starting to get towards the orange. We're not red yet, but, this area of the business needs some attention. Then that's where these dashboards will come in handy. So another one is, do I need a university degree? Look, university degrees are always great. It shows that you have the ability to learn and stick to something enough to see it through. and that is always going to be great. But like I was saying earlier, I come from, I didn't actually finish my high school degree. However, I did actually go back later in my life and go back and do a business diploma. And that sort of set me on my way to have enough confidence that I was able to move into the direction I wanted to in my business. Well, it was before I actually ran a business. But I knew I was keen for entrepreneurship. I knew that was a pathway that intrigued me. And so that was something I went back for to learn. But even then, it was only a diploma. It certainly wasn't an MBA or anything like that. And after that, it was simply my experience that brought me to where I am today, and having confidence in myself to be able to lean on that experience and to be able to say, look, I'm 80% of the way there. I might not know the last 20%, but I can learn that. I can either learn it on the job, I can shadow other people, I can be mentored by others. Understanding that you can get most of the way there through your current knowledge, then that is going to get you a lot further through your experience than it is by having a particular degree, if that's what's holding you back. Now, I do think experience is necessary if you don't have a university degree, but life has amazing ways of throwing experiences at you, and it doesn't mean that you don't have transferable skills in a particular industry. You can work in many different industries, and that can actually give you an advantage because it can give you a different perspective on a problem or an issue that is coming up in one industry that a different industry has already solved. And so to be able to transfer that and bring a new angle and new clarity is absolutely what diversity is all about. So I don't believe that you do need a university degree to be a COO. And I am living proof of that myself. And the third one is, okay, I want to be a COO. Does that mean I have to work 60-hour weeks? No, it does not. I don't at all. I, in fact, probably work 15, 20 hours a week myself. I also have some kids that go to school. My kids are 11 and 14, so they're in high school now, and they pretty much look after themselves for the most part. They can at least dress themselves and feed themselves and that sort of thing. So I feel like I am past sort of that hard period of time when they're little, but it's important to me that I have time for my family, and that I think is what makes my position unique, in that I won't let myself be the bottleneck in the business, because I don't ever want to stop somebody else from doing what they need to in their role to achieve what they want to get done. So it is my role primarily is to make sure that all the different departments are communicating with each other, that they're achieving the outcomes that we want, that we can review that we can problem solve together when we need to. But I don't need to be in the business 24/7 or 60 hours a week to be able to do that. I can check in at multiple times during the day and have space if I need to jump in and help where I can. But I am looking at that back level view, that top level view of what's going on in the business, and see all the pieces moving, and then can hone in when I see that it needs my attention. And a lot of that is just touching base with my team. They know where to find me. They know how they can contact me when they need me. And nothing is ever so urgent in the business that that something can't wait an hour or two for me to be able to come back and touch base in the business again. So I have different parts of my business. So I have my coaching, my COO mentoring, that takes me away from my COO role sometimes. And then I also have a particular an additional aspect where I help other small businesses start building up the foundations ready to bring on COOs into their business. And so that is like another third leg of my business that sometimes takes my time away as well. But my main business as a COO role, we basically work a 4-day work week. And even then, it's certainly not full 9 to 5 days. It's actually more for me. It's about 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the day that I do the most of my hours. And then I have time to step away from my kids. And then I'll do another couple of hour chunks in the evening. That works really well for me because I'm a night owl. I know for other people, they probably might prefer to do a couple of hour chunks in the morning. But understanding for me that I work better being able to have quiet time at night once my kids are asleep in bed, and I can dig in and I can do some like deep work in the evening, and that just really works well for me and for my team. It also helps that I am in the UK time zone, so that means that I can work for the businesses I work for are primarily based in the United States. So I will wake up before everybody else. I can set work for my team and then go off and do what I need to in the other areas of my business without being client facing, and then come back again in the evening, which is normally when everybody else has finished work in the UK. But I can touch base with my team that is still working in the US and be able to still be able to do that extra couple of hours of work and it be really productive for me. So I tend to split my days up into those two periods without needing to work 60 hours a week. So I still, yes, I am touching base first thing in the morning before everyone wakes up, and last thing at night. If I have to do, I can do a final check on my emails or Slack messages at 10 o'clock at night. And for me, 10 o'clock at night is 5 o'clock in the afternoon for my for my US clients. So it looks like I start before them and I finish before them, but it's just check-ins along the time to make sure everybody has what they need. So this is one of my students who've been through the Digital COO Accelerator. I can actually see that Angie is also on our call today. Angie's also been through my COO Accelerator. So just wanted to point out that this isn't like other OBM courses. I'm not going over the basics of project management. It's actually more, I'm already expecting you to have some kind of experience in this level. So as Sam was saying here, she says she's taken other OBM courses before, but they just cover the basics, which she already had as an experienced OBM. She was lacking the higher level leadership training and that big picture thinking and analysis that is required of a COO. So my course filled in those gaps for her and has brought her confidence and a refined skill set to bring to her clients. So confidence was a huge piece that I focus on inside this platform and inside this program. That sometimes you already have the skill set and knowledge that it takes to get there, and there might just be just something holding you back and in your way to be able to be confident enough to step into that COO role. So Sam says, Laurie was amazingly knowledgeable and very supportive of the individual journeys, and she brought invaluable knowledge and really tied together how to be a superb COO in an easy, digestible way. It fully met her expectations and she feels much more confident stepping into a COO role now. And Sam is doing very well in her COO role and she's doing amazing work. So we'll go into a bit of what is involved inside my accelerator program. But if you have any questions, I will be opening up to questions next. So pop them inside the chat box because that's my favorite part of my program, is that it is really high touch and you get me, my mentorship and questions right here. So I am going to open up for questions, but just a little bit of what is covered inside the program. We start off, like, as soon as people join, you can have access to the first module or the pre-module, and it's all about the CEO and COO partnership. That relationship that you are creating as a COO is really important to make sure that that is really gelled and aligned first before you start, and to be able to continue growing that relationship that you have with the CEO. Then our official module, which starts on the I think it was the 25th of April, is on module 1 is about how to create that team autonomy through culture and leadership. Then we will go into some delegation tools and process mapping. And then we talk about a bit deeper into the business cycles and bottlenecks. So I did briefly talk about that today, but we did certainly go a lot deeper into what they look like. Module 4 is diving into data analysis and dashboards and creating our own dashboards for our businesses. Then module 5, we look into optimizing revenue, we look at budgets, and we look at income projections. So it is super important to understand the finances of a business and the systems behind it. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a bookkeeper or anything like that or understand taxes. This is more the strategic operations and income projections and how to create goals based on your finances and things like that. And then module 6 is going into strategic planning and the execution. So it's one thing being able to plan everything, but also how do you execute that and get your team to work on that strategic plan as well. And then module 7 is about salary negotiation. So sometimes we might already find ourselves in this COO role, but we just don't know how to ask for more money to do that. And it should be a compensated role, and like we want to make sure we are compensated adequately. And so we go through some tips and tricks with salary negotiation on how to be more confident to ask for more money for your role. So please, if you have any questions, if you want to write it in the chat box, if you feel like you prefer to actually come on screen and we can have a conversation, have a bit of a hot seat, I am totally open to that as well. I just wanted to go a little bit more while you're writing those questions into what is also included inside the Digital Accelerator. So we do have 8 live coaching Q&A sessions. The program does go for 9 weeks. So in the middle of the program, we do have 1 week off to give you time to catch up on any modules that you might have missed or to catch up on any homework that might be involved, because there are weekly assignments and workbooks and templates that are included inside the program. You also get 2 private one-on-one coaching sessions with me. Sometimes I get some people wanting to bring their CEO in with the coaching session as well, and that is totally fine. They wouldn't be, CEOs aren't actually, they couldn't come to our Q&A sessions, our coaching set, like our group coaching sessions, but they are, if you want to, you can bring them in to have the one-on-one session with you at the same time. Or you could just keep it completely private to you too. That's up to you how you want to use that. So you do get 2 coaching sessions with me, usually at the start of the program and towards the end of the program. You do get lifetime access to all of the modules. So even though we go for the 9 weeks in total, you don't lose access to those videos after the 9 weeks. You get to keep those, the assignments, the workbooks, and the templates for the entirety that this program exists. And there is also included during the 9 weeks is a posse. It's actually beyond the 9 weeks. Again, this is something that there is going to be a Slack channel that is available for all alumni and people going through that program that might maybe want to ask questions about specific modules. They might just want to share wins. And so we all are there on a similar journey as you, a lot of supportive posse of other COOs. And quite often you can, if you're looking for a copywriter, or you're looking to hire another VA, or you're looking for a tech assistant or something like that, it's a good network to plug into. Some people use it to share their systems that they have, or to share something new that they've developed, or their dashboards and things like that. So there will be a Slack channel for you to be able to have a community of your own, and that Slack channel doesn't go away. who have lifetime access to that Slack channel too. So yeah, it's pretty like comprehensive program. You get personal one-on-ones with me, you get a community that doesn't go away, you get lifetime access to the coaching sessions and everything. So just for today, until midnight tonight, now I know we've got different time zones that we're dealing with here, so it's whatever is your midnight. We have, if you are interested in applying to my cohort, I'm offering $300 off. So if you can get in by midnight tonight by sending in your application. Now, I know there are actually a couple of people inside here that have already sent in your applications. That means you are already eligible for our $300 off. But if you don't get in by midnight tonight, then it will be the usual price of $14.97. But I do also have payment plans available as well. So the usual payment plan is 3 payments of $5.49. But if you get your application in tonight, then you'll be eligible for $449 US a month. If anyone here is based in the UK, then it does include VAT. So VAT is also added in that price, just if that affects anybody in the UK. So yeah, if you're interested in applying, I will just put it in the chat box as well, just to make sure. Apply. Okay, so that's the page for the application. So yeah, I think I said it officially starts on the 25th of April. So that's in 2 weeks' time. So hopefully we will my aim is to have a call with anyone who applies, who meets the qualifications, in the qualifications being that you have already had some experience in the project management role, that you're familiar with project management software already, and that this is, the right fit for you as well. And then if that suits, then we will have a call together just so I can understand what your your goals are to get out of this program, because I want to make sure you achieve your goals too. And so part of that is, yeah, we will make sure we'll have a sales call. We'll do that in the next 2 weeks. So make sure that happens before the 25th of April. So I have opened up slots in my calendar, but if any of those calendar slots don't suit you, I can definitely open up some extra slots as well. Just let me know when is your time slot, and we'll make a time available as much as we can. And then, okay. I've already done that. I've already shared that one. So that's just the application form. All right, so now I'm going to open it up to the questions that we have. So I can already see Pam has a question. Do you cover pitching a CEO to move your role into a CEO? Yes, definitely part of that. I'd probably be more inclined to do that in our one-on-one sessions to understand your personal situation on like where your experience is coming from, and I'll help you create a pitch just for you and using your skills and your transferables and things like that. So yes, we do cover it a bit in like that final module about negotiating for your COO wage, but yeah, we can actually dive a bit deeper into what a pitch would look like for you. So absolutely. And it tends to happen like throughout the whole program anyway, that I'm always like helping you put your best foot forward on how to pitch that COO role, what that looks like, how that mindset starts right from the word go. Quite often, like you'll see from the very first module, it talks about that CEO-COO relationship. And if you haven't got that kind of relationship first, we start putting in some habits together that will build you into that role right from the word go. So pretty much as soon as you get in, we're going to start building. It's more like what you're nurturing. It's kind of like dating them. You're not asking them to marry you on the first day that you meet them or anything like that. We're just going to build on that relationship and build that trust, because the trust aspect is 100% what makes the success in this role. And so if you can build that trust with the CEO both ways, you trusting them and them trusting you, and then that's going to help when it comes to pitching that that role for you and what that looks like. So 100% I'm there for that. Angie, I'm not sure if you're on, if you're a video or just on mute, if you want to like share your experiences inside the program. Oh, my pup's a bit upset. You Angie might not be. Oh,
I am here. I'm not going to turn my video on though.
no worries.
But yeah, so just to give a brief explanation of where I'm at in my journey is I started out with when I started with the program with Lori as a senior manager level, working in project management, team management, back end systems. So basically an OBM role in a sense, and quickly moved into a fractional CMO role with the trajectory to move into the COO role is the next step for the business owner that I'm working for now. So that all happened very quickly, and the program definitely helped me build my confidence to acknowledge the skills that I had and what I could offer for a business owner. Um, so yeah, so I mean, it's a gradual journey, but definitely got a lot of insight into the leadership side of things in the accelerator program, which was great, and still acquiring those things as we move along. So it doesn't just happen all at once.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, Angie she's so enjoyed the program that she's going around for a second round. So I'm looking forward, if anyone is thinking of joining, Angie will be joining us already in the next round as well. That's starting in April. So there's always so much to learn, and that's part of like the mentoring is it's not just like the modules that we're going through. You get to ask me like individual questions that are unique to your situation, everything like that. So yeah, thanks for sharing, Angie. Yeah, did anyone have any questions about this particular webinar that they thought maybe there was something that might have been covered inside the webinar that you would probably still like questions answered about? You don't have to come off speaker if you're not comfortable doing that. You can certainly just put it in the chat. No. Good. It means everyone's good. Oh, well, we do have a question. Done. Excellent. Everyone's great. Well, thanks for coming along today. It was so nice to see some faces to names that I've seen. And then I think there are a couple of new faces that I hadn't met before as well. So thank you. I hope to connect with you in some way, probably by email or hopefully on Zoom. And yeah, we'll have a chat soon. And I look forward to meeting you all again next time. So thanks everyone for coming, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Lori.
Thanks. See ya.